Grace, peace, and mercy all. This is Chris Halverson, pastor of Spruce Run Lutheran, and I'm here to do another Ask the Pastor. So today's question is, why do other denominations say the Lord's Prayer in different ways? So a couple things to think about regarding the Lord's Prayer. One of them is that there's actually different versions out, not just sort of in the English, but I would recommend all of you, so a little homework here, check out Matthew chapter 6 and check out Luke chapter 11 and compare the two Lord's Prayers there and just notice the differences. So regarding one thing about, sort of run into different Lord's Prayers in the sense of different translations of the Lord's Prayer during, different churches have different ones. So just thinking about, this is a prayer that presumably was in probably Aramaic initially, and then you end up having it in the Bible in Greek, then it gets translated into Latin, and then eventually into English, right? So the earliest, or at least one of the earliest English translations we have goes this way. Just reading the start here. Vader ur thur the ert on heov vonu. So, right, our Father who art in heaven. But in Old English, right? So there's a very early translation there. Then there's sort of the ye olde one from 1662. And it starts, Our Father which art in heaven. I've definitely ran into some places that use that one still, right? A couple, Anglican or Episcopal churches that do that kind of thing. Probably some others as well, so you might run into that version. But also there's probably the most common one, which was, translated into the English in the 1860s, 1850s, something like that. And it's Our Father who art in heaven, right? And that's one we frequently use right here. But then there's also one that is ecumenical that was put together in the 1970s. And it, of course, starts off, Our Father in heaven, right? And this is, I think, the one, sort of my generation is most familiar with, although I think a lot of us eventually sort of revert back to the one from the 1860s. So that's translation-wise, that there's a couple different English translations floating around that different churches use, perhaps to sort of signify that they're kind of more traditional or less traditional in one way or another. And again, one of them is, trying to stick with things as it is because you're using a language that is kind of higher English in order to make sure that everybody knows that the thing you're doing is holy. On the other hand, there's folk who are doing that kind of translation that's much more contemporary, figuring that you want people to actually understand what it is they're saying. So they want it to sound like everyday speech. So on one hand, heightened speech, on the other hand, sort of everyday speech. And I think both of those, there's something to say about both of those, that they both are, potentially faithful, useful ways to say the Lord's Prayer, and they're doing, simply put, different things. There's also, though, if you've wandered into a Roman Catholic church in last very many years, in fact, you'll notice that the Doxology, so the end of the Lord's Prayer is, well, if you wandered into a Catholic church before 1962, you'll notice that it's just not there, right? That, you end with deliver us from evil. Now, today, most English-speaking Catholic churches end with, deliver us from evil. And then there's a brief description of what the evil things are. And then later on, during Holy Communion, you end up with the Doxology. For thine is the kingdom, the power, the glory forever and ever. Amen, right? So you end up with a space in between describing the varieties of evils that God is being asked to protect us from. So that's what's going on there. So that's what I have for you all about the Lord's Prayer. So on one hand, you got homework. Check out the two different versions in the Gospels. Then also just note that there are different translations. So it's just a translation issue, and whether you're going for high kind of English language or more contemporary kind of English language. And then finally, Roman Catholic sisters and brothers sometimes stick the doxology, so the ending at a slightly different place. That's what I have for you all. God bless, and let's close with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. God bless.